the Psychic Holistic Spotlight. I'm Bill Hannon, your host tonight. I have the advantage of working with two co-hosts tonight, Kathy Medeiros and Josie Way. And we are interviewing an annual friend of ours, Roland Comtois, and we are looking to go in different directions with him to explore different avenues of understanding. Good evening, Roland.
Good evening, Bill. Thanks so much. Thank you guys for inviting me. I appreciate it very much.
Right.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
Again, we look forward to this every year, just to be able to sit down and talk with you and establish an old friendship that we've had for.
I love that, and I love coming. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Now, one of the things I wanted to look at tonight, and of course we can go anywhere you want to go, but as a jumping off point, I'd like to possibly focus on different vibrations of communications, more specifically maybe angelic communication, because I feel connected very strongly, and I keep myself open for that
for
information.
Signs.
Exactly, signs and information. And I was just wondering, do you find them a strong ally in the work you do?
Well, you know, I have, for the last 20 years, have been doing a special event at the 1st of December, always. And it's called the Celebration of Angels. So I've spent my whole life talking about them because, like all of you here, I'm sure, had a profound and revealing discovery about what those angels are, how they help us, how they guide us, how they inspire us in our lives. And so I've been working with them, as well as a lot of other people, making those kind of angelic connections. Right.
I find that very interesting. I had my jumping off point was basically back in '76 or so, when somebody introduced me to a book called the Urantia book.
Oh, yes.
And the way that they break down all the different chords and all the different legions and all that stuff, and whether or not it's true or not, I can't say.
Yes.
But they open up my realm of possibilities exponentially.
Yeah, isn't that the whole point, is to open up our realm of possibility, to go beyond ourselves and recognize that we are part of something. That something includes the angelic realm. Like all of you probably, I've seen them since I've been a kid, you know, just a glow of light or just an energy, you know, and my interpretation of an angelic presence is always by what I feel inside.
The feeling.
It's always that kind of something that happens inside, a knowing, a feeling, a vibration, an energy that seems to move me forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I must come right out and say, if you guys are all seeing them, I do not. So I'll put my hand up right now. I will say I was blessed to have an angelic hand actually help me in a situation where I was stuck, and I have no doubt. I mean, the chassis of the vehicle was on the mud. There was the tires were just spinning, and I asked for the hand of God, of course, through manifestation of angelic realms, to just help me get out, and boom, I was out like that.
That's interesting. My mother had a very similar experience when she was a young woman. That her car went off an embankment, and she kind of came out of the car went into the water, I guess, and she was just clinging onto something, and she felt something move her up out of danger into a safe area. And, you know, so that happens. It happens somehow. Right. Yeah. It happens to all of us, probably.
Right. Yeah. Well, I have a son of mine who is, he's like me, he's a big guy, he's kind of rugged, he's had four-wheel drive vehicles, and I've been stuck and he's been stuck. But, I mean, you know, he said to me, well, Dad, didn't the tires just grab or something? And I said, Christopher, you weren't there. When the tires grab and the vehicle moves in a certain way, you can feel the car moving out under its own power. This was just pulled up by something. So I know, I have no doubt, and I express gratitude.
Yeah.
So.
You know, you just hit the nail on the head. One of the ways to really celebrate the angelic connection is to experience gratitude once a moment comes.
Oh, yes.
Right? And that gratitude expands our awareness to them even more than what we had originally.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like they expect praise, but they appreciate it. They appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, don't you appreciate that,
and
right?
recognition that oh my God, my car and the other car were both in the same lane, and somehow, without my seeing, I moved.
Yes.
You know, but I didn't do it.
Yes. Yeah, when you look at that, what really caused that moment? What caused that moment when those two cars are traveling down some road and one moves and the other one doesn't? I mean, that is an interesting thing to look at. What caused that moment? Was the angel speaking to you and your intuition moved you forward? Did the angel push your car to the other side? What was the catalyst that made that happen?
Right.
That's an interesting thing to talk about.
Right. Well, it is interesting. And not to move away from it, if anybody has anything to say, that's great. But that's like just one small aspect, physical manifestation of the angelic realm.
Sure.
And we experience it, we know what it is.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you can say that, and angels have worked with you that you can, besides physical manifestations, such as maybe some
You mean
of
like appearing to you in a dark room, something like that?
That's what I said. I don't see him.
Really?
We don't use the same drugs there, Roland.
But they've
The
appeared to
orange
you, I'm
thing.
sure.
They have. There was one time I actually rolled over I was by my father's SUV and I rolled it. I don't remember how I did it, but I rolled it over and people that pulled over they saw a man in the vehicle on the passenger side, but I was the only one in the vehicle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and there's been times too though, like where I was home by myself during the day, it wasn't at night, and I've actually seen them in the other room. Now, when I was in my living room, and I've seen them in the dining room, and all I did was just think about them. Then all of a sudden they're there. I'm like, oh, this is really,
See,
really
you
cool.
just, again, the one question everybody asks me is, how does it happen? And when I talk about the angels every year, I say the same thing. You think about it,
That's
and
all
it
it
happens.
takes.
It doesn't require these certain techniques and steps, right, to get there. The minute you're there in your mind, in your heart, you've created a connection
Yeah.
that moves you somehow,
Right.
that guides you in some way.
Right.
You might not see them, but if you did, they look like some of the orbs that they get pictures of now. They are different sizes and different glows and sometimes different colors.
One of the most amazing things I've discovered in these many, many years that I've been living this life is that not one person has the same perception or the same experience with the angelic realm. We don't all see white ghosts floating around or halos or wings.
No.
We all have our own different way of experiencing that angelic connection.
Sure.
Right? I bet you everybody here
But it
would tell
comes
their
with a
own.
feeling.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the hallmark, I
It
think.
is the hallmark. You're absolutely right, because it does something inside of you that allows the connection to move through you. So you're absolutely right about that.
And what I also found though too with the angels is that a lot of times they come to us in the way we're taught for them to look like too.
True.
Right.
But not always. But I've seen that a lot with people that I've talked to. It's like and I try to tell them, it's like, just understand that that's how you're raised, that they look like.
That's your
So
perception,
they're going
sure.
to look like the way you believe them to be.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Because if you think they have wings, you'll see wings. If you think
absolutely.
they're just a beautiful blue glowing light that floats through your bedroom, then that's what you'll see.
Yeah.
If you're a Buddhist and you've been brought up to believe in Dakini,
Yes.
which are angelic type of spirits, mini gods, goddesses, that's probably what you will see.
It's true. It's really true. And there's no diminishing each of our perceptions. The way we see it is the way we see it, and we can't have an argument with ourselves about it. We just
Yeah.
have to be in it, accept it, experience gratitude, and
Well, they could probably sense what our recognition factor would be and say, well, if he wants to see us and we want to make ourselves known to that person, well, we should probably appear in the way that he's expecting to see us.
well,
Yeah,
that's an
we'll
interesting thing.
recognize.
The Native Americans have many, many visions, and they're always animal visions. And I was told at one point that the guardian animal spirits are also just angels appearing in forms that they would understand.
It'd be exciting to get to a point in our life where we don't have to where they don't all have to have a label. It's just energy.
Right.
Energy, angelic, animal totems, guardian angels, beings of light, beacons of light. I mean, wouldn't it be amazing just to say I have this connection, and that connection, whether it's called angelic or not, moves us and guides us through our lives? That would be interesting.
definitely.
I'd love to see those
Yeah.
times.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I mean, judging what you're talking about and everybody here is expressing, I've actually developed a ritual
Yes.
when I start my day. I ask, if I need help, please help me, because they always say, unless you ask for help, you're not going to get it. But if something were to happen like that, and I don't have time to say, help me, I'm prefacing my day.
Yeah. You know,
If I need your help, please help me.
Yeah. One of the other things about, at least my experience with the angelic realm, we only need to ask once. We don't need to be saying the same story. They're so keen and so intuitively and spiritually connected to us, to our heart, that the second we think it, like you said, and we feel it, they're there. You know, there's this one story. I met a person a long time ago, and she said, Roland, tell me my angel's name. And I said, Charlie. And she said, Charlie? That's what I have. How come I don't have Michael, she said, or Gabriel? I said, well, you asked me, and I had a feeling, and the feeling is Charlie.
Yeah.
You know, I think we all have a guardian or a guide or an
Sure.
angel
Yes.
or a being or whatever the words are to describe
Right.
them. And that lady had somebody named Charlie. I thought that was nice that she had somebody named Charlie.
My Uncle Charlie would be glad to hear that.
There you go. See, nothing gets spoken just for the fun of it, right? Everything has a
absolutely.
meaning,
Right.
has a purpose,
Right.
just like our communications with the angelic realm.
And what I find too is that most people don't understand. It's like you just need to give them the angels permission to help you in everyday things, because they don't. A lot of times, though, but people don't realize that they can only help us without a permission if it's like
Sure.
a major thing, like
Right.
a really bad car
If it's
accident. or-
life-threatening.
Sure.
Yes. So a lot of times the people just don't understand. It's like all you got to do is, okay, just please help me, and then the right angel comes in. You don't necessarily need to know their name.
Sure.
Just the right one will come in, because they all have different jobs.
Right.
They all have
Yeah.
different.
But it's a
things that
lot
they
of fun to get to know them.
do. Yes, it is. Yes, it
You
is.
know,
And to know
again,
which
I
one
think
does what.
going back to the very beginning, I think they don't need to be known by a name or a description, but by a feeling. Because the first second you connect, it's right here. They're right here, and you have this feeling inside of you that's incredible, absolutely incredible, when they're present somehow.
Yeah, because the names are really more for our reference than
Yes,
it's for
absolutely
them.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more for ourselves.
Yes, absolutely true. It makes us feel better calling it something other than an angel,
Yeah.
maybe.
Right,
It makes
right.
us feel better, you know.
Something more
Well,
tangible
along the
for
line,
us.
now you just brought this up, different angels being with you, going back to the conversation, a couple minutes ago. And again, I have to go back to the Urantia book, and I found it very interesting how they state that everybody has a guardian angel.
Yes.
And as you get older and you start taking on more responsibilities, you have two guardian angels. And as you start, if you are to expand and do a lot of things, working with a lot of people in beneficial roles and whatnot, you'd actually have a few angels working with you just to make things flow a little easier for you, to make things manifest.
Yeah.
You know, I certainly am the guy that believes that it's not one way or another. It's always, it's always that they are there, right? So, certain religions believe there's one on the left and one on the right. Other religions believe, like you just said, the Native Americans, that there's an army of animal totems guiding us. But I think they all are supporting humanity somehow, or our human condition and experience somehow.
And sometimes the angels don't always stay either from birth until we
Yes,
pass back onto the
right,
spirit side.
right.
Sometimes they change.
I have had that experience when my son passed. One of my guides went with him at the time of his passing.
So
To help him.
I'd love to understand what happened. How did you come to that understanding?
Through a medium.
And so the medium said that the guide that you had with you went with your boy? Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Helped him because he was afraid to cross over.
Yeah.
He was watching what was going on, and he was hesitant.
It brings up a story. I know we're talking about angels, but there was a woman that I met, I don't even know the number of years ago, and her son had committed suicide. And she had been searching for him and looking for answers and looking for messages and praying for hope. And then I show up to do a private session for her at her home. When I got there, I had this feeling, very strong feeling, that he had been just sitting there waiting for her to find the peace. What she told me was that every day she would pray that her guide and her angel and her guardian would help him cross over. And so it just is interesting to hear you say that story, because it's similar to this woman that I met some years ago and
Yeah.
what she went through.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
So have you felt that guide since then?
He stayed with him.
So you haven't had any more communication with that guide?
Not directly.
Oh, that's so interesting to me.
It's when they're together, you know.
Yes, they're like
They come
communication.
together.
Yeah, they're like a team. Yeah, they come together.
Well, he's doing work on the other side of helping young people. He's kind of like a greeter.
I love
and,
that.
And he's a transitional guide.
Yeah, you know, I mentioned before that I had a near-death experience, and they are certainly, there are transitional guides and guardians who kind of, you know, when you go through a certain portal, you see them all, and they're all kind of guiding you along. So there are certainly a lot of support
Yeah.
in that space.
He takes care of the young folks
I love that.
and whips them up into shape.
I love that. I totally love that.
Boot camp.
He's got a great sense of humor. So and I think that's what makes him very good at what he
I
does.
know. Sometimes that humor comes through so clear, though.
Look, yeah, in all the years I've been channeling messages, angels, mediumship, whatever it is, I've never heard the other side say, and never heard them say, "Don't laugh." Never. Not once.
Right.
I never heard them say, "Don't eat." I've never heard them say, "Don't go back to work."
Right.
I've never heard them say that.
Right.
Those things happen because we're grief-stricken and we're going through what we're going through. But laughter and humor is such an amazing aspect of the human
Heals.
spirit.
Yeah.
Yes.
It heals a lot.
It's an amazing part of who we are and what we do.
Yes.
Speaking of that humor and that light, I remember walking into, as a nurse, I've been taking care of the elderly most of my 30-year career as a nurse. And I walked into a room one day and one of the patients said, "Do you think there really are angels?" I said, "Yeah, of course I do," I said, and sat there and gave her these discussions, and whatever story I told her, she started laughing. She started freeing herself from all that pain. And that night, she said she had a feeling. She couldn't figure out what it was, but she thought that maybe one of those angels that we were bringing in or talking about during our time together was someone helping her at the very end of her journey somehow. So laughter is healthy, it's strong, it's healing. It gives us courage and things.
What I find a lot too is that the angels tend to have messages of take care of yourself, because sometimes we forget to do that,
Yeah,
take care of
true.
ourselves, especially when we get so busy in our everyday life, or if we have to take care of someone else as the main caregiver. I hear that a lot though too. You gotta stop and slow down for yourself.
Isn't that amazing that the angelic realm has to tell us to take care of ourselves?
Yes.
That we can't find that within ourselves because of life experiences.
Right. Well, we get locked up in a regimen, and they're sitting back watching maybe different systems in our bodies start to diminish.
Maybe.
And as they're sitting back watching our systems diminish somewhat, they realize that if this keeps up,
You're gonna get really sick.
this guy's not going to be working with us much longer. You know? So let's make him aware of that.
Possible.
Yeah.
It's all. Who knows, really, right? Who knows all the details of it? It's so.
Well, some of the people
extraordinary.
that are medical intuitives.
Sure.
They
see things.
work with the angels. I mean, it's not just what they perceive themselves, but
No.
they actually have communication from
Sure.
the other side helping them.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what's coming through at times with the average medium.
Sure, and you talk, to the people that visit John of God in Brazil.
Yes.
He's channeling all those entities and all that energy, and bringing healing to the people that he's taking care
Yeah,
of.
and he does have a backup crew, though, that stands behind him and
Yes.
keeps his energy up.
Oh, absolutely. And he has a human crew and a spiritual crew, all helping him to maintain what he needs to maintain for that, for the people that are coming to see him.
Yeah, and I'm sure that there are gifted adepts, what you might call like Sai Baba,
Yes.
that they materialize things, but I'm sure it's with angelic help.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I think that we all have access to that place, to that space, to that energy.
Right, right.
And when we call upon it, as you said
It's just a
already,
vibration.
It is.
Well, it's a larger view of the law of attraction.
Sure.
When you think of some things,
Sure.
or when you focus on it, when you affirm it, when you thank for it, it starts to come to you.
Yeah. You know, I interviewed, I just forgot his name. He says we're very good, I forgot now. He works with Doreen Virtue.
Oh, Radley.
Yes, I interviewed Radley, and he and I had a conversation on air, and you know, he said we're really great at manifesting the small things in life because we have faith and confidence that we can manifest those smaller things. But when we try to manifest the larger things in conjunction with that spiritual base or that angelic team, we seem to kind of dwindle away in our courage and our confidence that we could manifest those bigger things.
Well, some of it is questioning whether we're really worthy
Yeah, sure.
to have
Sure.
these bigger things in our life,
Sure.
whatever
Right.
that
Yeah,
might
it's
be.
always somebody else that needs it more than me, or you know,
Yes.
and that prayer's run out, and it really doesn't though. It's like you just ask for what you need and you'll get it.
Yeah.
There's no limit.
Yeah.
You know, there's
Yeah.
no
Again, the limited thinking and the sense of separation, I think, comes from some of our upbringing, some
Oh,
of the
of course.
religious
Of
traditions. You know, keeping people stifled in some way.
Sure, sure.
But instead, we're all about, at least here, and at least your show, all about manifesting the big things and
Right.
the
Yeah.
connections and
And
things
what we need,
Yeah.
absolutely.
and what we need.
Well,
And manifesting peace and love and harmony within everyone,
Right,
and which
well,
is right up the alley with the angels.
right.
Sure.
And we were told by the Master himself that, you know, you have the faith to move mountains.
Yes.
The things that I do, you can do, and more.
Yeah. You know, I had this amazing experience. I went to a garage sale, and I was thumbing through a box of old books, and I picked one book up, and it was Khalil Gibran's The Prophet, which is by far one of my
yeah.
most favorite books in the world. And I took it home. I paid 25 cents for it. Hey, if you know
you
what I mean, I
overpaid
got a
for it,
bargain.
you know?
Yes,
I
you
got a
did.
bargain.
Yes, you did.
So I got the book for 25 cents, and I went home and I opened it up, and a piece of paper fell out. And in that moment, I said, I know that this is a gift. I didn't know what the paper was,
Right.
but I know that if I went into that box and I pulled out that book and that paper fell out,
You
that
would never seen
something
it.
was supposed to happen.
Right.
I opened the paper and it said, there is something way down deep inside of each and every one of us that gives us the ability to climb mountains, that gives us the ability to be what we would not ordinarily be. It's the part of us that remembers love. And I thought to myself, if that's not angelic, spiritual, God, divinity, holiness, something big, something special, then it was nothing at all. And it was a powerful moment that kind of transcribed where I was at that point and moved me forward somehow.
Yeah, well, recognizing it as a gift and feeling honored
Yeah.
to receive the gift.
How lucky was I? Someone else would have loved to get that book, right? Somebody else would have loved to pull that out of there.
But they wouldn't have recognized it the way
They
you
might
did.
not have
That's-
recognized
Yeah, that's
it.
a good point. Great point, actually.
Yeah, they would not have recognized it for what it was,
Well-
the way it struck the chord within you.
Look, this is the whole point of spirituality. It's the whole point of angelic communication. It's that certain things happen that truly strike the chord, that give us what we need to live the best life we live. And that's what happened there and happens to every one of us sitting here,
Yeah.
for sure, and everybody that's probably watching. That's pretty powerful stuff.
Right.
You know, the beauty of it is that messages come every day. They come every moment. They come to bless us, encourage us, inspire us, and give us what we need.
Occasionally give us a little push.
Yeah. Gives a little grief now and then, but it's all good in the end because it helps us to move forward. It's all about moving forward. It's all about ascending in our humanness.
Right.
It's all about ascending and being here in our human experience, feeling the presence of all that energy that exists with us, that coexists with us.
Well, the angels admire us for what we're doing. I know most of us feel like we're not doing enough, but they admire our efforts because we're divine children and we're still little children.
We are.
So our efforts are actually very, very grand for little children who are working in the dark sometimes.
Right. Well, they on the other side can sense and realize all the omnipotence that's on the other side and what's actually going on.
The big
and the
picture.
vibrations, exactly. We don't see that.
Yeah, we just see bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
Right. And so I've actually heard that said before, and I agree with you that they do respect our endeavors as long as we try to move in the right direction.
Yeah, it's all about ascension, both here and in the next place somehow. All about ascension. You know, the angels are here and now. It doesn't require anything but you saying, think it, say it, believe it inside. Hold that energy within yourself and then take a step and see where that step takes you.
They are great teachers, though. They really are. They're teaching us every day.
Yes.
Every little step that, we do to ask them whatever it is, though, or just that little push, like Josie had mentioned, every little thing.
Yeah, they're there. Just open your mind, open your heart to a greater possibility that you don't exist in the world alone, that you have a team.
Thank heavens.
Yeah, thank God for that. Right? That you have a team of souls standing by your side, going on the journey with you somehow, and that's the beauty of the whole thing. That is the beauty of it all.
Yeah, I'm grateful I don't have to know it all.
Yeah.
You know, as the typical teenager, I thought I knew a lot. The older I get, I become wise.
Yes.
And the definition of wise is knowing how much you don't know.
That's right.
Or, I don't know more than you. I know more than I knew yesterday. So because of that, I'm one step further along my path. One step along the journey.
Yeah, we're never alone, are we?
No, never.
Never alone.
No.
Well, I'd just like to
When
take
I
a minute to thank
Okay.
our viewing guests who sat in with us and enjoying this annual celebration with Roland. We welcome your response and staying in touch with us and viewing us on a weekly basis. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So
I was going to say, if you could tell people your web address,
RolandComtois.net.
okay? And you can stay in touch
now, Roland,
with what he's
some
up
people
to.
might have a problem spelling your last name. If you could
Then
just
go to blessingsbyroland.com.
bang. Great. Yeah, we still got time to talk. I just want to thank the audience for being with us tonight. That's all.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's all about gratitude, isn't it?
Yes,
right.
yes. The
So
more you
those
have it, the more
angels
they
are
come.
just here,
Yeah,
right
well-
here, right now. All we have to do is be present for them,
Right.
be with them.
Well, now we talked a lot about manifestation and, physical manifestation and being aware and expressing gratitude. Is there any succinct thought that you would like to share with us before we wrap up today's show?
Well, we have talked about gratitude a lot. We have talked about intention a lot. What we really need to do is be present in our lives, to live our lives, to be present, fully invested in the experience of our lives, in conjunction with all of that extraordinary energy that coexists with us. I don't think I live alone. I don't think you live alone.
No.
I think we live connected deeply and profoundly to something that is very beautiful and very nurturing and nourishing of our souls.
Right. And if you don't see it, ask.
Yeah. Seeing isn't the
Yes.
gift, though.
No, I don't
Knowing
mean
is
so
the
much
gift.
seeing with this. I mean,
Yeah, not everyone can see.
no, I don't mean
Some-
sensing somehow that
yeah,
you're not alone.
sense or hear
Right.
or see or
But
feel
just
Or
ask.
Yeah,
no.
one of the senses.
or know.
Or knowing. Knowing is probably the most profound of all those gifts. Like you said, not everyone's going to see an angel, but you'll know it's present. It may not have a definition or a description, but you yourself understand it's there.
Yeah.
That should be enough.
The loving feelings that come from the divine connection.
Yes. That should absolutely be enough when you have that knowing inside of you. Sometimes you want to